So you've got a stack of old documents in the basement and you want to know if you can throw them out. Well, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Dave Lopez.
And I'm Chase Lopez, and this is another episode of Retire Your Way with ILG Financial, where we talk all things retirement. Now, before we jump in, just go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button so you can get alerted for any of our future videos. But we'll just kind of jump right in. So the number one document that folks ask us about, if they should keep it around, is your tax return, right? So if you take a look at the screen here, the IRS can actually audit you for any reason for 3 years from the date you filed your tax return, okay? And then the IRS actually has some more time as well. If you either paid late, you filed an amended return or anything like that, then they have the opportunity to audit you for up to 7 years. So from your filing date of those taxes, you want to make sure you hold on to those tax returns for at least 7 years from when you filed.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. Mm-hmm. Okay. The next one we'll talk about is what we call tax supporting documents. So really that's the file return, the tax return is just the document that you send to the IRS, right? Mm-hmm. You should have a stack of supporting documents. That would be things like receipts, things you're trying to deduct, mileage logs, all the stuff that supports
1099s, W-2s.
Thank you. All the stuff that supports the tax return. That's what we call supporting documents. We would recommend you keep those, again, for the same 7 years, because if you're audited, that's exactly what they're going to ask for, the proof to support tax.
So the next one we get a lot of questions about is bank statements or credit card statements. So there's a couple of rules of thumb there. Typically, folks would recommend keeping those for about a year. You can shred those after a year. If you are using these bank statements or these credit card statements as tax supporting documents, something that, because sometimes folks do, right? If you have certain deductions and things like that. If you are keeping them for anything that's tax related, much like the other tax related items we talked about, you want to keep that. You want to keep that for 7 years.
Next one I would say is property investment records. So if you have any real estate other than the house you're living in, and it's a rental property or an investment property, we would recommend that you keep all of the documents on that rental property for at least 7 years past the date you sell the property. Right. And the reasoning there is these are by definition tax documents. So you're going to have to support how long you held the property. And if you're audited, they're going to want to go look at the records for the year you were audited. So keep those as well, 7 years minimum, I would suggest.
Absolutely. Another one we get a lot of questions about is retirement accounts, right? Should I keep my statements for my retirement accounts, things of that nature? You absolutely should. Now, the good news with technology, is that a lot of these custodians or institutions that are holding your accounts, they digitally save all of your statements and things like that.
Yeah, that's changed things.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So with that said, you definitely want to keep those documents and those statements for as long as you have the account. And even after that account has been closed, you'd want to keep those documents for approximately 7 years. And it's kind of on the same theme that we were talking about here today is you want to make sure any sort of taxable event, so withdrawal from your IRA or withdrawal from your 401k, that you have the documentation to back that up in the future if the IRS were ever to say, hey, this distribution, how much of that was taxable, things like that. So 7 years after the account is closed.
Yeah, and that seems like that could be a pain if you're keeping the documents and they're not digital. Right. But remember, you can make them digital. Just scan them and keep them someplace in your folder, and then you don't have a big stack of stuff in the basement that you're worried about getting destroyed.
Exactly.
Now, next one, forever documents. Are there any documents that you should maybe keep forever? The answer we would say is absolutely yes. So you should take a look at the screen here. This would be a list that is not, I would say, all inclusive, but this is the main ones I would say make sure you do. Of course, you want to keep adoption papers, something I would keep forever, birth certificates, death certificates, divorce decrees, lawsuits, marriage certificates, diplomas, school transcripts I would keep, Chase, health and immunization records, very important to keep, social security cards. Those are the biggies. There might be others for you, but those are the ones I would suggest that you kept forever.
And there are some documents that really you only have to keep until a new one arrives, right? So if you take a look at the screen here, some examples of that are, your credit reports, your social security statements, your vehicle registrations. You get a new one of those every single year. So once you get the new one, it's fair to say you can get rid of the old one.
Yep. And last, we can close it out with I would say anything else. If you have other documents that aren't on the thing we listed, just check with your accountant or your financial provider, financial professional, right? But rule of thumb, I would say a minimum, if you're not sure, keep it at least 7 years because of the IRS audit rule.
Exactly. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button to get alerted for these future videos. We'll talk to you soon.